everybody else, I first want to ask you to give a round of applause to all of the workers. Applaud yourselves. Come on. Then to our president, Brother Greg, give a hand up. And then to our international president, Sister Mary. And long before some of us were marching, Reverend Jesse Jackson was on the front line. Let's give it up for him in Chi-Town. A lot of us got our start when Reverend Jackson broke through and ran for president in '84. Don't ever forget that. In fact, I'd like for us to honor all of the elders among us that've been fighting. If you're 75 years and older, raise your hand. 70 and 70 years older, raise your hand. Where are they? Yeah. Come on, let's give it up for the elders. Let's give it up for the elders.
All right.
And they're still here and still fighting. Let's give it up for the millennials. What's that? 35 and younger. Now I want to ask everybody for a moment to touch somebody, grab a hand. Brother Mike, man, I'll modulate, bring it up some so I can hear myself. I want you to touch, and everybody get real quiet for a moment. We're going to holler, but get real quiet. Shh. All behind the stage. And I want some of you all, the workers, to move up while I'm speaking. We have a tradition in Maul Monday. We don't speak ever standing at a podium by ourselves. Amen. Shh, in the back. Shh, shh, just a moment. I want us to remember people who have died during this hurricane, and people who will have trauma long after the cameras leave. That's the first group. Secondly, I want us to take a minute, because we can never act as though when we're in a movement that we're the first ones, Mary Kay. I want us to remember the ancestors and ask their permission to continue. Frederick Douglass, Mother Jones, Harriet Tubman, Dorothy Day, Rabbi Heschel, Dr. King, Bayard Rustin, A. Philip Randolph, the Mother Teresa. All of those voices of conscience, they are not gone, really. They are with us in the spirit. And we should never gather without honoring the strength that comes from them. Now can we give a mighty applause to the universe and to everything that is great. Brother Greg asked me to come, and Mary and Reverend said I could come to Chicago. And I want to talk about for a moment, they said they wanted me to do a little teaching, that we better fight for the soul of this nation and the heart of this democracy. Yes, you're fighting for 15 in the Union, but you're fighting for something much greater. You're fighting for your children's children and what kind of nation we will be. We need to understand that the battle for labor rights and living wages has always been a battle in the soul of America, and America has always had some form of strange schizophrenia when it comes to workers. From the outset of this nation's founding, certain forces didn't want to honor workers. Only white landowners were given the right to vote. White workers, working poor white males and females, were legally excluded from the political process. For 250 years of chattel slavery and a system of free labor but full employment was the law of the land. I said free labor but full employment. Free labor, free forced labor, built this country. And when some today say to those of us who fight for living wages, 15 in a union, which really is below what the minimum wage would be if the minimum wage had kept pace with inflation, I thought I'd slip that in. When people tell us to back up and be careful and be slow, Mary Kay, and don't do it, I say the first slaves were brought here in 1619. 2019 will be 400 years. It's taken 400 years to get from 0 to 725. We can't wait, and we will not wait another 400 years to get to 15. Forces of oppression took places like New Mexico and California and Texas from our Mexican brothers and sisters, and then brought them back as cheap labor to work the land that was theirs in the first place. And now we have the nerve to call our brown and Latino brothers and sisters illegal aliens? Just last night, reports came out in the middle of the night. We used to say back in my day, the freaks come out at night. A freaky decision came out at night. Said Trump's going to end DACA for young Latino dreamers, students who were brought here. And he's trying to pit you against them. Because the rationale is he's claiming that he's making a decision based on his love for the American worker. And we've got to resist that kind of demonization. Resist that kind of otherization. And we need to tell him and tell all of those supporting him, we're coming for you, black, white, Latino, gay, straight, young, old, north, south, east, west, and we will not be divided. The fact of the matter is, we need to say these children are human beings first. God's creation. And that's greater than American citizenship. They have, and then we need to say they've been a blessing to America. And they are living and acting more American than our president. And third, to pit some American workers against others and say that these children are hurting workers and playing the fear card and the otherization game is racist. It's white supremacy. It's white nationalism. It lines up with Breitbart and Steve Bannon and Richard Spencer. And we have to resist white supremacy, not just when somebody dies in Charlottesville, but when the Congress or the president votes wrong and acts wrong in Washington, D.C. So much, Mr. President, for your so-called National Day of Prayer. How in the world can you call the nation to pray when your policies are P-R-E-Y-I-N-G, praying? Seems like God is saying to America right now the same thing he said to another nation in the Bible, in Isaiah. These leaders act like a gang of miscreants. This is Isaiah chapter 1 in the Message Bible. It says, what's all this worship? You think you can act religious and that's enough? When you come before me, whoever gave you the idea you could just say some prayers and be all right with me? The Bible says, quit your worship charades. I can't stand your trivial religious games. I want you to quit all of this meeting, and claiming prayer. I'm sick of your religion while you will go right on sinning. When you put on your next prayer performance, I, the Lord, will look the other way. Because no matter how long or how loud you pray, I'm not listening because you're tearing the people to pieces. Your hands are bloody. If you want me to listen, go home and wash up. Clean up your act. Sweep your lives clean of evildoings so that I don't have to look at them anymore. If you want me to hear your prayers, stop doing wrong. Learn to do good, America. Work for justice. Help the down and out. Stand up for the homeless. Pay people what they deserve. And go to bat for the defenseless. Come, let's reason together. This is a battle for the soul of the nation. And the battle for the soul of this democracy. Reverend Jackson, when we can have 26 presidential debates on both sides of the aisle and not 1 hour dedicated to living wages. Not 1 hour where the workers are asking the questions. Not 1 hour on systemic racism. Not 1 hour on the war economy. We are fighting for the soul of this nation. When unions are castigated and lied on, sure, like any human institution, unions have had their struggles. You have struggles in your local. But if it had not been for union, there'd be no 40-hour work week. There'd be no minimum wage. There'd be no labor protection. There'd be no benefits. And there'd be no civil rights movement. Because the march on Washington was not a march to sing Kumbaya. Ask him, he was there. It was a march for jobs and freedom. We're in a battle. When 42% of all workers in the U.S. earn less than $15 an hour. Hear this, media. I didn't say 42% of just black folk. 42% of all workers. And more than half, over 50% of African Americans make less than $15 an hour. 60% of Latinos, but in raw numbers, it's more whites. Because there are 8 million more white people that are poor than there are African Americans and 5 million more than Latinos. There are over 102 million poor and working poor people in America. At a time when Joseph Stiglitz in his book, The Price of Inequality, reminds us that 400 families make an average of $97,000 an hour while we are locking people up who fight for 15. We're in a battle for the soul of this democracy. There are 14 million poor children in this country 150 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And we could rid, says Mary Wright Element, 60% of that if we just took 2% of the federal budget and spent it on money on things that work. And yet we put more in war to destroy lives than the money to lift up lives. Reverend Jackson and I were talking that voter suppression is real. And voter registration in most states, except here, give yourselves a hand right here in Illinois. Give them a hand. But in most states, voter registration is not automatic. But in every state, registration for the draft is automatic. If I can be automatically registered for the draft, I ought to be automatically registered to vote on the people that set the policies that take us to war. We're fighting for the soul. When the people who have to live policies are often the ones who are suppressed from voting for the people who make the policies. We're fighting for the soul. Did you know that according to the Mailman School of Public Health, Mary, 250,000 people die a year, not from gunshots, not from cancer, not from heart disease, not from diabetes, Not even from hurricanes, but from poverty. That's murder by policy. Poverty and low wages kill more people, according to the Mailman School of Public Health, than the people that die from cancer and heart disease and diabetes. We're fighting when the average CEO makes 300 times more than the average worker. Can I teach a minute? When not only healthcare workers in Chicago don't make $15 an hour, but the healthcare workers in Texas that are saving the lives of people make less than $15 an hour. Most of the people who are risking their lives to pull people out of houses and out of water make less than $15 an hour, and they will have to struggle long after the cameras leave Texas, Louisiana. When a leader with a narcissistic ego sits in the Oval Office and spreads the lies and fear of racism to the point that it revives and emboldens white supremacy. And when people go along, because it's not just him, Trumpism is a symptom of a greater moral malady. When people go along with him, politicians go along with him. Some people claiming to be preachers go along with him. People go along with him. They go along with him because for them, the love of power and the love of money and the love of party is more important than the love for justice and the common good. I'm telling you, we're battling. Touch your neighbor and say, we're battling for the soul of this democracy and the soul of this nation. My goodness, my goodness. People don't they fight unions and they lie on unions and they beat us down. Challenging and changing these realities and reconstructing society cannot just be a march on Labor Day. It must be a movement every day. We are fighting for the soul of this nation. Literally, Dr. King said 50 years ago that health care and a guaranteed income was a moral necessity. And as a preacher and a bishop in the Lord's church, I came here to say to the nation that long before today, and long before there was an American Constitution, there was a moral constitution called the Old and the New Testament of the Bible. And since you keep putting your hands on the Bible, Governor, since you keep putting your hand on the Bible, Senator, since you keep putting your hand on the Bible, Mr. President,